Hello, everyone. Hi. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Thank you, Dr. Walsh, even though you can't hear me. As he said, I am Kate Hampton, and this is Kate Moji. She's going to help me throughout the course of the presentation. I hope you guys get a chance to get to know her and myself. But starting with that, I'm going to tell you where I'm from. So I'm from Steilacoom, Washington. It is within Tacoma, Washington, which is near Seattle, if that gives you a better idea of proximity. I am one of 2.5 children, and the 2.5 is representative of my little brother, Dr. Watson. To say otherwise would be to dishonor my family, and my mother just would not have it. She would have a fit. And the next person I'm going to introduce to you is my sister, Brooke. We are 8 years apart, and throughout the course of my life, I have tried to pawn her off on various strangers because she's literally what a big sister is, annoying. And then the woman responsible for all of this, my mother. And because of one of her past lives, something that my sister and I will never find out about, she's not a fan of social media because the people that you want to find you don't, and the ones that you don't want to find you always do. So that is my family. And now, my days begin and end with them, but in between that, I am a second-year MBA student, and as an MBA student, my concentration is strategic management and marketing, and just so you know, I am focused on finding a job, but my focus is actually branding. I like to take as many naps as I can throughout the course of one day. I am a buy one, get one free ice cream connoisseur, and since the tender age of 8, I believe that I am destined to marry The Rock. So let that set in, ladies. He's mine, he's mine. And as the future Mrs. Dwayne Johnson, because of course I know his real name, that's my man, of course. As the future Mrs. Dwayne Johnson, my revolutionary idea is to cope is not to withdraw, it is to embrace. And I'm gonna explain that to you, but first let's start with a lesson in empathy. So imagine with me, say you're taking that long ride to the dentist, or you're driving and you notice a police officer in your rear view. Or maybe it's report card day and you have that scene in your backpack you gotta explain when you get home. Or, just maybe, you're standing in front of a captive audience and wondering if your fly is down. Don't look at me, don't look at me. All right, I'm good. The things that I've described to you, that's anxiety. And anxiety is that overwhelming feeling that no matter how hard you try to make something better, it just gets worse. And for some individuals, your anxiety, it lasts longer than a few minutes. It can last hours. It can last days, months, and for people like myself, anxiety disorder has been with me for years. Now, I want to tell you a little bit about how anxiety has impacted my life. As a woman, and as a woman in business, I'm often in meetings and boardrooms with men that are twice, maybe 3 times my age. And when I'm in that room, anxiety latches onto my vocal cords. And it holds tight and makes me wonder, is my voice deep enough to make a point? Or should I make it softer so I'm not threatening and I'm not imposing on anyone in the room? As a person of color, my anxiety has made me oddly aware of the fact that sometimes I'm the only minority in the room and that I'm going to be expected to speak on behalf of every other ethnicity that's not represented here, even if I'm not a member of that ethnicity. As a member of the African American community, my anxiety has made my voice that much quieter because mental illness is stigmatized in the Black community and it's often ignored. Now, with all these things in mind, I want you to know that my anxiety has not stopped me from doing anything. I still speak, I still use my same tone of voice, but it's taught me a few things. It's taught me how to live, and I'll tell you some of those things that I've learned just from my personal experiences. And the first thing is to articulate my feelings. So my sister and I, we get into some shenanigans from time to time, as sisters do, and on this particular occasion, we were moving a couch. So, we're going like, she's on the tail, I'm on the head, and, we lifted with our knees, just in case anybody was wondering. I was like, all right. I was like, okay, Brooke, we're doing this. And she's like, we're doing this. And I'm like, we're doing this. We got this. And we're going, and I was like, are we at the steps yet? And she's like, not yet. I was like, but I feel like it's coming. She's like, we're not there. I was like, I feel like it's, I don't know, I need to stop. And she's like, what's wrong? I was like, I just need to stop, we gotta stop. She's like, no, we're almost there. And I was like, I don't know, no, you said we're not there yet. What is it? And she's like, what is wrong? And I was like, I don't know, I just gotta stop. And she's like, don't stop. And I was like, okay, wait. seriously, we gotta stop. And she's like, what's going on? I was like, I'm getting anxious, I just need a minute. So we put the couch down, stood there, talked a little bit, laughed about a few things, picked it back up with our knees, keep that in mind, and we kept going. Brought it in the house, everything was fine, hung out on the couch, and that was it. Be patient with yourself, because by saying what you mean and meaning what you say, you figured out what's going on with you, you're hearing it, your family is able to take account, and it lets them kind of identify some stressful situations for you, and it just helps everyone. It's easier to communicate that way. With my sister, there was less frustration for her and less frustration for myself because she understood me, and I made that clear to her. Something else that I've realized is that I have to distract my cognition. Now, because of my anxiety, sometimes it's harder to get out of my own head than it is to get out of my bed. So what I do, I dedicate a song to myself. I pull up my phone, put in something recent. As of lately, it's been Move That Dope by Pharrell and Future, because sometimes, I feel like a drug dealer in my head. Don't ask me why. But I feel like that's a great mindset, because you're like, I'm invincible. I'm over here sneaking in the corner. I don't know what I'm doing, but dedicate that video, make a video, because in my head, when I hear a good song and I'm in my car and I was like, oh, this is it right here. It's I got this. Prime example, let's see, I Live by One Republic. So as the beat comes in, if you guys are familiar with the song, the lead singer is I hope when you take that jump, you don't fear the fall. And the guitar's doo, 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 doo. And I'm yeah. And I'm creeping up and I'm oh, it's about to drop. The beat is about to drop. But no, seriously, you need something that you can get lost in, something that you can get out of your head with, because that's all it is. It's just in your head. You just need something to drown out that negative noise. And sometimes when it's not noise, maybe it's just you're trying to do too many things at once, stop what you're doing. Just stop. I was getting ready to come back for this semester, and I was sitting at home with my mom and sister, and we were talking about some of the things I needed to do. And I'm talking to them, I'm trying to throw stuff in the suitcase, and then I didn't bring a big enough suitcase because I always seem to leave with more than what I got there with. And I'm just where did this stuff come from? Because I feel like this is what I have, but okay, whatever. And my sister was hey, make sure you do X, Y, Z, X, Y, Z. And I'm And she's what was that? I was you're freaking me out. I need a minute. And I did. I just stopped. I listened. I was so what do I need to do? I stopped. I wrote it down. And then I just sat on the couch and played with Dr. Watson. I was all right. Then I got back to it later. Just give yourself time. Take a minute. It's for you. It's just literally anything else to do to distract yourself. It says meditate, sleep, read, paint, eat some ice cream, live your best life. Now, this is something that I've realized about anxiety. It adds to your mystique. It gives you a certain je ne sais quoi. It kind of adds to your quality of life in a way. And I say that because having anxiety, it's literally it's made me more efficient. It's improved my time management skills, and it's sharpened my soft skills. I've developed an amazing sense of patience because I've had to be patient with myself for so long. And one of the reasons I think that is because one of the major symptoms of anxiety disorder is hypervigilance. It's that enhanced sensory, so that everything that you see and do, it's just your sensory is it's more aware. It's a heightened experience and it's intensified. And in layman's terms, in my opinion, you're basically a superhero. You're welcome. Next thing you know, I'm gonna be just be out there. You don't know. I don't know either. But it adds something to it. It does, it adds something to it. It just adds something to you. It rounds you out in a way. And there's something so cool about that. It's so pure. It's you. And I know I'm telling you all of these things, but just make sure you remember one more thing, to focus on yourself. It's about your mental health. There's so many things that happen in the world, and you can get caught up in different stuff. You can be on social media, you're talking to your friends, you're seeing what they're doing, and you may feel like nobody understands me, but don't stay within, just focus on yourself. Because you're number one. You're the MVP in this. This is about you, this is about your mental health. So with all of that being said, I want you to remember that to cope, and whether that be with the stress of school, the loss of a loved one, maybe you've broken up with somebody, or maybe you're just buried under student debt. I know a couple of people in here are about to be, no shame in that, live your best life yet again. But to cope with all of those things is not to withdraw, it's to embrace it. It's to embrace it and learn how to articulate yourself. It's to embrace it and to distract your cognition and find something that makes you happy and that just makes you live in that moment, whatever it may be. But it teaches you to focus on yourself. And if you feel like you shouldn't focus on yourself and think that may change some things for you, remember this, and it's one of my favorite quotes. Be who you are, say what you feel, because those who matter don't mind, and those who mind don't matter. And that is my revolutionary idea. Thank you.